Hey guys, we're gonna dehydrate these eggplants. So according to ChatGPT and then the Facebook groups, you go ahead and you cut them in. I'm doing half-inch cubes. So I'm not sure if that's exactly half-inch, close enough to me. And these are probably a little bit larger. I should have probably picked them when they're a little bit smaller, but it'll be okay because I just want them to dehydrate down, and then we'll see how this turns out. Because if this works out, I'm going to be very happy about it. Because then that means that I can make my eggplant, dishes in the middle of winter. Because, again, I like eggplant. I just don't like having to eat that much eggplant in that short a span of time. And as any of us know, as we're growing a garden, the last thing you want to do is have spoiled produce. So, because that's not the point. The point is to grow the garden and eat what you grow. And again, I'm kind of thinking, unless my husband watches this video, I'm kind of thinking I can sneak it into some of the sauces, and he may not even know, because that one that I made, I want to say I found the recipe on Pinterest, and I did save it, I believe. And I wanted to, because it did turn out really well. And at first I was not too impressed with that sauce, like I mentioned, but the longer it sat, the better it got. So you clean and wash your eggplant. You remove the stems. And now we're going to chop them into half-inch cubes. And I guess that's small enough. You just want them small enough to where they'll dehydrate, from my understanding. And the steps to rehydrate them is supposed to be super simple as well. A lot of people in the dehydration group said that they do not even rehydrate it. All they end up doing is tossing it in with their sauces, their dishes. So that's what I'm going to plan to do. And I need to do this, use the dehydrator because probably Friday, I'm going to be canning up my next batch of tomatoes. And I will be making a video on that as well. I was having mic issues. I accidentally, rookie, what do you say? A tripod fell over whenever I was outside doing some garden work. And it busted my receiver on the mic. So, because at first when I was telling my husband, he was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah." And then he was like, "Well, how much? This, that." And I looked, and it wasn't that much. It was like $30 to replace the receiver, which is not bad. I'm still learning. Still learning, right? Still growing, still learning. So that's how you do it. Alright, so I said to salt it, and then I need to let it sit for 20 to 30 minutes. So I'm just gonna put this, and I'm just using regular plain salt because I'm trying to watch how much iodine I take into my diet, so I don't use any of the table salt in my stuff. I know my husband likes to use it, but guess what? You can always add it in after, and that's the beauty of it. This is to draw out the moisture. I guess it would have been smarter for me to put in the strainer the first time to do this, now that I think of it. But I gotta rinse it anyway, so it'll be okay. Even though that'd be even simpler. Whatever. So, and again, I don't measure. It had measurements. I'm just salting. Now I'll come back and we'll rinse them. And then I gotta pat them dry. It did suggest to blanch them. I probably should blanch them, but I'm probably not gonna blanch them. We'll see. So far, it's easy steps, right? Probably been easier if I had already put in a colander to salt it and do the double bowl method, so that way I could rinse it, strain it all in one step. looking back, that's what I should have done. In the future, that's what I'm going to do. These also have a little discoloration to it, but I'm not going to worry about it. So we're going to rinse these, and then we're going to dry them. Okay, I saw some liquid there coming out. Alrighty. Got a couple clean towels here. And I'm going to spread them out. Sorry, clean my counter. I'm going to go ahead and just spread these out. And make sure that these are drained really good. Out onto the towel. It's a very similar process to doing like any kind of potatoes that you do to, just before you cook them. Like, to make hash browns or whatever. Got this dry. I think I'm skipping the blanching on this one. These small little grow boxes, I'm getting a bunch of eggplants. They're just absolutely perfect and they grow so fast. And these are seeds from that free heirloomseeds.com. I got these many years ago. I got a bunch of other seeds from them as well, which is a great organization. You can donate, and sometimes you can even get more seeds on top of that whenever you put it in a donation. But they do offer, and I don't know if it's once or twice a year, but they do offer free seeds. I'll put the link in the description below in case anybody is interested in that. And it's just a good way to get some really cool seeds and pretty much everything that I've gotten from them. Because these seeds, by the way, I can't remember the packaging date. I'll have to look, but they were many, many years ago. So these are very viable seeds for many, many years. And I'll probably never have to buy eggplant seeds ever again, nor will I have to save them. So, but if I did, I'd be the one I'd be saving it from. Now it's time to load up the dehydrator. This is one of those practical gifts that I asked for 2 years ago at Christmas, and I absolutely love it, and I use it all the time in the summer. I use it for my herbs. I've used it for the tomato skins after I'm done canning. That way, because I've been trying to really go low to no waste in my kitchen. So it's, for me, it just makes sense. I like to add, like I said, I like to ask for gifts that, uh, I am going to use and I'm going to use on a regular. And of course, I had to get things that are compact for storage. I would love to have a canning room. I would love to have more space for all of the stuff. But at the same time, I have to be respectful of my house and the space in my house, and I don't want it to be overly cluttered. It already is a little bit cluttered, but you got two adults and two very active pets that are like small children to us, and you accumulate things. Well, I like to watch a lot of tiny home videos. And so that's where I got a bunch of ideas of how I can still get this stuff done. So, all right, back to the eggplant. I just have them spaced out where there's room, like a there. And this is my top one. So it's got the top one has a cap on it in case you're not familiar with doing this. So I'm going to go ahead and load up my trays. These are super easy to keep clean. You pop them in the dishwasher if you don't feel like washing them, and they're just really easy. The dehydrator is super simple to operate and manipulate. I can stop it, start it, however I want to do it, and it'll work just fine. That on top, right there. And now, it does seem like a very long process. It's going to take anywhere from 8 to 12 hours. I don't like to leave anything running at home while I'm at work. What I do is I let it run through the afternoon into the evening, sometimes even into the morning. But I will shut it down when I go to work, and then I'll just restart it back up when I come back home if it's not completely dried. But according to ChatGPT, and a lot of them in the Facebook group. I want to set it for 1:35, and then I want my time. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do 12 hours. And then just turn it on. And that's the sound if you're looking for something that's not too loud or just right. That's the sound. Okay, so I went ahead and dehydrated these at 1:35 for 12 hours. They shut off sometime this morning before I went to work, so I unplugged it and let it sit. Now we're going to see what 12 hours and then sitting for 8 hours, because you have to let it go through a cool down phase before you jar it up into anything. And also I want to see, I mean, look how small these things turned into, and it seems kind of, they seem dry to me. I'm going to cut into one, and wow, maybe I should have cut them, maybe to prep them, maybe I should have cut them a little bit bigger, but it doesn't seem super spongy or anything, so I'm going to go with it, and I'm going to consider these dry. I mean, they feel dry to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load them up in this jar, and then once they're all in the jar, you have to go through what they call conditioning. Okay, so it's all been jarred up, and what you need to do is for about I think it's a period of like a week, every day you've got to come in, shake it around. I even go ahead and open it up a little bit, and you're looking for any type of condensation, and that's just to make sure that they dried properly. Um, they look dry to me, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to label it eggplant, obviously, and then I'll put summer 2026. In the winter months, whenever I want to make up some of my dishes or my sauces and I want to throw some of this in, I'm not even going to rehydrate it. From what I've read, all you have to do is just toss it in the sauce while it's cooking and boiling, and it'll rehydrate itself. And to me, that sounds like a win-win situation. Have you guys dehydrated your eggplants out there? I know people do it with tomatoes. May do that with my own because I'm having an overstock of the cherry tomatoes right now. What all have you been dehydrating, either for small space savings wise or just in general because it's just a little bit easier than the whole canning process? It takes a little bit longer, but it does seem to be a good alternative for those of us that are having the small space gardens and small space storage for our garden produce. Because the last thing we want is to have to throw out produce, because look at this sad little guy that, one, I did not pick in time, and two, I did not preserve in time. So it's gonna go right into the compost. And then one more little bonus that I got from my garden. Remember the beans that I put out to help feed the soil, to help feed the plants? Well, I've already got a small baggie where I've been blanching them, cleaning them, blanching them, and then flash freezing them, and then I just store them in a quart-sized bag. So anyway, I hope everyone's garden is hanging in there and you're doing the best you can with what you got out there. And it's what about it's been mid-August, so I'm already planning my fall garden, which I haven't done a succession planting season in a long, long time. So I would say that my goal that I had at the beginning of when I created this channel back in March was to bring back the joy of gardening. And between my flowers, my beans, my eggplant, and my tomatoes, look at that. My joy is definitely coming back in spirit into the gardening season again. And I'm glad because it definitely makes a difference. And to me, I love learning new skills, and especially skills. And I understand there's skills that take a lot of work, but it's fun, and it's just something that you don't become so dependent upon the stores having what you need. And it's kind of a little bit of freedom to know, and really cool to know, by the way, that you can grow your own food in a small space without spending $500 to get this tomato. Because that's the big joke, isn't it? A $500 tomato. Well, I did not spend $500 on my garden this year. I didn't even come anywhere close to spending $500 on the garden this year. And in fact, any of the costs that I put in to start my seeds, to start the whole garden process and everything, I actually was able to make back on my tomato sales. It's just, hopefully it gives a little hope to anyone out there who thinks, no, I don't have the space to do it. If you have the space and you want to do it, give it a shot. Because what's the worst that's going to happen? It fails? No, it's not really a failure, because along that way, you're going to learn what works and what doesn't work. And you don't have to follow all the rules like everybody else does. You can do what's best for your life. And that's what I've been doing with my garden. And honestly, it's really hands off. Other than during this heat wave, I have gone out and have to water my ingrown tomatoes and stuff. So it was a rather long video today, but that's just the steps that I'm taking this first time doing this dehydration of the eggplant, which is pretty cool looking if you look at it. I hope you enjoy your time in your garden and preserving your produce. So until next time, see you later, my friends. These are the purple burgundy. They're throwing off a lot of blooms right now. And these actually look healthier than the other ones. And there's a couple little baby beans right there that I'll be picking in a couple of days. And that's all the ones that are over here. A few tucked into here. This one's not really producing much. Oh wait, nope. There's a couple. And here are the early thirds. Again, I'm not worrying too much about what the foliage looks like, because look how rough these are. But they're producing little beans still. At least I saw some on here earlier. And this one right here, there's one right there that I'll be picking in a couple of days. Like I said, I don't worry about the foliage too much, because they're, I'm more wanting the production from them. And there's a couple more there. So that's what it's looking like. And